Well, hello, everybody. My name is Jazz Woods, and welcome back to 3.5. 3.5, and we are here with a special episode of Heard It First, courtesy of our friends here from Puma. I want to thank you guys for joining us as we celebrate 50 years of hip hop. And as you all may not know, but today I am here with someone that is no stranger to all things goated. You may be familiar with him from a viral hit sensation, but if not, I am here with the phenomenal Armani White. What's up, Armani?
I love this introduction. That was fire.
Oh my God,
that was
thank
fire. I was
you.
like, I ain't gonna step on no toes. I'm gonna let you do your thing.
I appreciate that so much.
fire.
Yes, I'm always trying to make sure, the
Yeah.
artist is in mind. So thank you so much. And I have to ask, what was like the first moment when you knew that music was going to be a career path for you?
There was a moment in my life when I found out the words hour and shower rhymed. And it had to be like first or second grade, and I ran across the street like, yo, I remember my stepbrother was outside, my homie Tristan was outside, like I was like, yo, I just found out, like this, you know what I mean? At that point, it just became something that I just, I started doing for fun, and it picked up and became more and more serious.
Right. Now, you are from Philly.
Yeah.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And when I think of Philly, I think of soul. I think of soul being the belly of the beast for hip hop. And I'm curious to know, has artists like Music Soul Child and Jill Scott impacted your music career too?
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's like, it's not just them. It's like the roots also, but the roots of where all of this music came from. Like, it comes from like, soul comes from like just street musicians. It comes from church. It comes from, a lot of these things. I think we all kind of have the same grassroots. It's just what direction we decided to take it in. Some people did soul music. Some people made, some people even made rock music. Some people did hip hop, but we all kind of have that same thing that's tying us all together. And that's like, just the grassroots of what Philly is.
Yeah. That's what's up. And I love Philly. You know what I'm saying? I also think of Boys to Men and just how they championed, boy bands and were the first, again, to really break into mainstream and show that that can be a market that you can tap into.
Right.
Now, I also want to go into your musically inclined, background as well, because you're not just, you're not just an artist. If I'm not mistaken, you have a background in audio engineering as well.
Yeah.
So would you be able to tell us and the fans and those in the chat about that?
Well, I mean, a lot of it was like school of YouTube, but but at the same time, before when I was in high school, I used to be an audio engineer for my church. I did that for like 3 or 4 years. And then even outside of that, like, I started like when I was going to the studio, I didn't have enough money to like just consistently be in the studio. So I was like, yo, let me just like, I was almost like an intern. Like I would just sit behind the boards. Yo, let me learn. Like, let me just help, set this session up. Let me, like, and that was a lot of the process of like what I was doing before, like, having my own moment, or like I would come in the fake work and like, and then at the time while I was working, I was learning how to like work my own sessions at the same time,
Wow. So the church was also a space that was kind of like the first area where you were like, okay, this is somewhere where I can like find my niche,
Yeah. You find everything in church though. Like we found like I found music in church. I found a lot of my homies in church. Like we, like our church was really it was really community driven. So like they used to do like block parties, they had cookouts and all that, but like it was church, but it was also just like, just a part of the community. That was what we did on Thursdays, what we did on Saturdays, what we did on Sundays,
Okay, so I have to ask, having such a like rooted community like Philly, and to see where you are now with Billie Eilish having, like this legacies mix, I am curious to know, since we're sitting here celebrating hip hop, how does it feel to be championed by the OGs so early on in the game? You know what I'm saying? Like, not everyone can say, I've worked with Luda, who's like a GOAT. Not everyone could say I've worked with Busta. How has that experience been?
It's been dope. I mean, it's like it really feels like, I guess it doesn't feel like I'm on the outside looking in, even though that's what I've been building. I never I've always been inspired and been like, I feel like no matter what I do, I'm always going to be hip hop, be a part of hip hop. But now it's like it's cemented. Like I made it in that year 50. Like, in year 50, like my name is etched in stone. We had one of the biggest the biggest hip hop records of the past 365. So like, yeah.
Now, I'm curious to know what hip hop means to you following this moment because, you know, we are celebrating 50 years. We are in the 50s, and you did, you know, have one of the biggest records. And it's happening when there's a conversation going around about hip hop and streaming and things of that nature.
To, fall short a little bit, actually, like not be the number one or something like that. I think because hip hop is always like it's the culture. Hip hop to me is it's the culture and it's the lifeline of like it's more or less just like a language and a narrative and that you know that we have as a community, as a black community, as a community, as a you know like somewhat of an impoverished community, as like a what's the word I'm looking for, like a
marginalized,
marginalized, a minority, like as a minority community, it's our culture and the way that we communicate with each other is hip hop. The way we dress, the way we talk, the way we you know like our attitude, the way we carry ourselves, like it's all hip hop. That's what hip hop is for me.
Even having terms like goated. You know, when I think of something like that, you know, like that's a term that I feel like is like literally driven and, you know, derivative of like hip hop culture. And if you do not know, Armani is going to give us a very special performance later. And he's going to perform that banger, Goated, which I love too. Now, you also got another banger that just had a big sync. The Billie Eilish song was featured in the White Man Can't Jump film. And I wanted to know two questions. First, what was that moment like for you, seeing or hearing your music, you know, in a debut film? But also, too, what are some of those first films that also inspired you to, you know, be a part of music?
I'm thinking about the second.
My bad. I mean, you know.
I'm thinking about the second.
I should have spoon-fed that,
right? But like for me, first of all, for the White Man Can't Jump, it was funny because I was in the crib, like. There's certain things you can't post when it happens. Like I can't like just screen record White Man Can't Jump. So I was in my room setting up my phone to record my TV watching White Man Can't Jump. And like so my you know my homie come in, he like, bro, what are you? And I'm like, you know, we made it like this little funny skit out of it, but it was really like realistically, I had my tripod set up just so I could record my TV watching it because I can't post it. But yeah, but nah, it was dope though. It was like saying all that to say it was dope. But that era of like. You know, honestly, one of the biggest things that, like, one of the biggest movies that really inspired me early on, like, just, like, as far as music being synced into movies was Space Jam. Like, you know, Space Jam was you know, like, it was just some really big records that we just took away that we, you know, like, those records that, it's those moments that are, like, I don't know, like you know what I mean? You feel like you're a part of it. You feel like you in the movie, and that song is just the soundtrack of everything happening. Like that's what I've always thought about when I be thinking about syncs.
Yeah, I love that you brought up Space Jam because when I think of hip hop and when I think of culture, you know, I think of sports. I think of film, TV, fashion, clothes, and Space Jam was definitely one of those pivotal films that allowed us, I feel like, to really connect the music to the art, to the sports and things like that. So I love that you mentioned Space Jam. I think Waiting to Exhale is another great movie when it comes to like syncs and music and things like that. The Best Man, Brown Sugar, Barbershop. I feel like Barbershop soundtrack is slept on a lot, you know. Shout out to Barbershop, and you know that's part of hip hop too, y'all. The Barbershop
good soundtracks is lost. We used to have a lot of good soundtracks. And then it was like, you know, because at that time, I mean, they're bringing it back like a lot. I know Marvel was doing it, but like at the time, they were doing like CDs that were just the soundtrack of this, like Mike, you know, like like even you know like a record that I sampled, Silvertooth, that it samples a record from like Mike. Oh my bad. I'm sorry. Yeah. But yeah, it's good soundtracks. That's slept on.
Now, do you think soundtracks have helped and or, you know, been a prominent, you know, decision when it comes to the samples you pick? Like, do you think there's some type of is there some chemistry there, or, you know, or is it just a matter of nostalgia, you know?
It's probably nostalgia for me. Like, it's no specific soundtrack that, like, drove me to doing one thing or the other, but I think, you know, for me, it's like, these records, like, this was a good record for me. This is a record like Billie Eilish. Like, this is a record that, like, I grew up listening to. It wasn't just on, actually, it was a sync. It was synced to a video game. You know, it was synced to Def Jam, I think it's Fight for Vendetta. Whatever, yeah. But,
You're right, you got
Def Jam Vendetta. I put the two games together. But it was Def Jam Vendetta, I think it was on. Like, those things was, like, you know, these were just prominent songs to me that really stuck out that I remember in my childhood, whether it was from a sync, whether it wasn't, like, whatever it was like, I remember these things and I wanted to, like, take it and put my own spin on it. You know?
Now, do you remember the first time, like, you said, okay, I'm going to take pen to pad and I'm about to write? Like, I'm going to really get into the art and mindset of what being a rapper means to me. You know, how old were you when that happened? And is it something you still do today? And I'm asking because, you know, we've gotten so digital. We have, like, our iPads. We have notes now. But I'm someone that, you know, I grew up, I learned cursive. You know, I wonder if the kids today are still learning cursive. I know how to write in cursive.
It's just you.
It's just me. It's just me, y'all. I'm sorry. It's just me.
I first started trying to write in, like, 2nd grade. That was, like, my first time I actually, you know, thought about it and, like, was like, I can do this. And at the time, I was like, I'm not going to ever become a rapper until I'm 18 because that's when I can start rapping about clubs. But by the time I hit 5th grade, I was like, I could just say whatever I want. And at that point, nobody else wanted to be a rapper. So I was, like, trying to write songs for my friends. I'm like, we could be a rap group. We could call ourselves this and that. So, like, at that point, that was, like, by 5th grade, I had binders full of raps. I had homework on the back of all my homework papers. Wow. It was just full of raps. Like, everything just had a bunch of raps on it. You know, like, I have no idea where the papers are now, but.
Now, I do gotta ask, were they 3-ring binders, or did you have the regular binders? Because, you know, back in the day when it was time to get your school supplies, we wanted that 3-ring binder and the mechanical pencils.
I didn't do mechanical pencils. I didn't like mechanical pencils. I kept breaking them, but I liked the 3 rings. I had the 3-ring chains. I used to, like, because I had to, if I had a regular pencil, I could get up and go to the pencil sharpener. I don't even know they got pencil sharpeners in school no more. But I used to be able to go to the pencil sharpener. That way I could talk to my friends. Like,
that's funny.
But yeah, I had a regular pencil.
Now, when you were describing, you know, the process for making Road to Casablanca, you also mentioned that your music was like happy hood music.
Yeah.
What does that mean for someone that wouldn't know that term or understands that, you know, language? Because that's a part of hip hop too. You know, I feel like sometimes we make our own language randomly. You know?
Yeah. No, for sure. I think it's not too, you know, it's not too foreign. It's really just like saying the music comes off a little brighter, a little more colorful, but it's still hood music. It's still pain music. It still comes from the same neighborhood as everybody else. You know, it's just like even when it shows like small trinkets of being happy, it's really like, this is the pain that I went through that shows that I deserve to be this happy. This is like this is the fire that I walked through that says, okay, I've earned the sunlight. You know what I'm saying? I'm old with what I'm enjoying and what I'm experiencing right now.
Like that championship sound. I think that's what I like about your music. Aside from being a Capricorn, you know, we are the goats. Like, I'm like, oh, you know,
we
like
are the goats.
I'm like, you know, I got an anthem here, but I love that because I think a key part of hip hop is, you know, like overcoming triumphs and things like that. And I know you mentioned some triumphs you've overcome in 2020. And how so many different, you know, like artists reached out to you that you weren't expecting to help you. Yeah. How does that moment feel, and how important do you think community is within the music industry? Hip hop industry specifically.
Community is super important. Like, well, community is important because it's like there's so many things you can do, and there's so many, like, for me, my whole, you know, like, I had this big moment in 22, but I've been around since like at least like 2015, and throughout that whole process, those 7 years was just like I was building up favors. You know, like, I'm like, yo, I do that for free, I did that for free, I did that, this verse, that, like, pop up here, show love to that person, bring this person there, whatever. I was doing everything just like building up cachet and network. And now there's a phrase that's like, a rising tide lifts all ships, and like all of those little seeds I planted, once one thing got activated, it like activated everything around it. So, you know, for me, it's like, yeah, I think community is super important, especially like you said, what I went through in 2020, like just having a support system, having a amount of people that was like around me, willing to like help me out, willing to like help me get back up when it all went down. Like that was super impactful for me.
I love that. Yeah. I also love your playlist too. Your playlists have been impactful for me. You have your Car Ride with Brunkow playlist on Tidal had a record on it that really stood out to me because, you know, when we think about hip hop, I feel like the history of Jamaica is very important. Not only because my daddy Jamaican and, you know, he go kill me if I don't shout him out. But when you think about records like a Taliban's, that's also having a impact, you know, on a global scale that I feel like reggae and dancehall hasn't in a long time. I'm curious to know, what was the first reggae record or dancehall record you've ever heard?
We used to have these mixtapes. My pop used to have like stacks of mixtapes in the car that like you popped a little glove box out and it was just like rolled out. But I don't remember which one was the like first one. Like, this is. But I will say, Sister Nancy.
Woo!
Yeah, Sister Nancy. That was you know, we had a couple sisters, like obviously Bum Bum, and it was like it was a couple records that just kept going on rotation. I just love the way her voice sounded with the read like that. Yeah, Sister Nancy was fire.
I love that you mentioned that again because we're talking about hip hop, and you know, one thing that's essential to hip hop and the culture is speakers. And the last time I was in Jamaica, I swear you can't go anywhere, walk anywhere without hearing that sound, which makes me go back to you know, when you're performing in front of like live festivals and things like that, like what's the first festival performance can you remember you've had?
Made in America 2018. We played Made in America. It was like a side stage. And it was like the early set, like opening up type of set. But we packed it out. We had like a bunch of kids, like hundreds of kids, just running up to it. And like, you know, I remember I didn't even have my voice that day. Like I was, you know, so I left it all on the stage. Like I took like 5 ginger shots straight back to back to back. It's just like, to clear my voice up a little bit. And once I finally got it, I just lost it right back as soon as I went on stage. So, but yeah, that was my first, festival set. We throwing water in the crowd. We was wild little kids.
But you also brought up a good point, how you said there was a lot of kids there, like kids were there. And I'm curious, you know, to know how you feel about this next question, because the rules for hip hop, you know, are shifting when I mean in terms of rollouts, music discovery, how people are finding hip hop. You know, you're seeing kids on TikTok, but I also feel like you see these in real life experiences like festivals kind of also shifting and shaping, you know, who's consuming music, who's culturally relevant, X, Y, and Z. And you were one of the first artists I saw on Threads. Yeah. And what I think about Threads, I think about that first time I was on MySpace. Yeah. And when I found, you know, like a Charles Hamilton or a J. Cole or a Nicki or a Kendrick. And I'm curious to know, what advice could you give or game could you give for this landscape for any up and coming hip hop artists that may be like, yo, there's so many different channels out there, but it's so much platform fatigue. What platform do I use? Do I use them all, you know, or do I just stick with one?
You got to find the one that's feeding you and thrive on it, because it is like every platform has a stories now. It's like Instagram stories, Twitter stories, TikTok stories, Spotify stories. Like everybody has stories now. So it's like, yo, I gotta post this to YouTube stories. I gotta post this to then like, you know, everybody has a short form content, you know, thing now. It's like there's Instagram's Reels, there's TikToks, there's YouTube Shorts, like, you know, so you you almost have to find the platform and the medium that's like serving you the most and cater towards that. And then, you know, sometimes you cater towards the other ones, but you don't cater towards the other ones as much as, you know, like you have to find where your audience is, where it's rooted, where it's deeply, deeply rooted at, and where it's like actually serving you, and feed them more than you feed everything else, but also still feed the other ones. You can regurgitate content, you can make specific content to the other ones, but feed the people who are feeding you. You know what I'm saying? That's the most.
Feed the people that are feeding you.
Yeah.
I love that, because
I'm dropping quotes sometimes.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, dropping gems off the dome. Right. No, but it speaks to what's happening now, you know, whereas I feel like we are in a time, as a strategist, because I am a part of UMG's music strategy and tactics department. Plug.
Talk to him.
You know what I'm saying? So I love providing strategies for our artists, for our labels, for our film soundtrack, etc. And I think we're in this time now where I feel like, you know, it's not about how many followers you have. It's about, do you have genuine engagement. You know what I'm saying? Which makes me wonder, you know, like, how are you able to identify those fans that are, you know, super fans or maybe like passive listeners, or is that something you're not even paying attention to?
I think like the real thing is like, what are you giving them? You know what I mean? I think you base it off of like the content that you're giving them, and the consistency. Like the consistency of what the content is that you're giving them, that determines like who's actually there to stick around, or who's there just because like something spark flew off or something went viral. So, you know, it's like if I'm, you know, like I do the journals, you know, like, and it's like sometimes the journal might fly. A journal might get 1 million views, but there's other journals that only get 100,000 or 200,000. So it's like, you know, you have to like, I have to determine, okay, there's a lot of people who came from this one journal video, but a lot more stayed, you know, with this one. Like this is the staying number. This is the blast radius number. That's the way I call it. Like, call it blast radius. Like, this is the one that just hit the blast radius. Like, all the people around it just seen it because it went viral. But this is like what it actually is doing. The
blast radius.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I gotta add that to a deck somewhere.
On,
okay,
just give me credit. Give me credit.
I am. I'm gonna make
Put
sure.
my name in the parentheses.
I'm gonna make sure you get your credit. But no, the blast radius is reminding me about the fans tool that I know you were one of the first to have access to. And I'm curious to know how much of an impact do you feel that may have had on your global, you know, scale? Because when I think of you, I think of artists in a vein of like Earth Gang, Jid, you know, Ari Lennox, like these MCs that have, you know, these phenomenal, outstanding audiences overseas and can do it like they are overseas back home, you know? So what was the experience like being the first to have access to SoundCloud's fans tool?
It was dope. Well, we did it in connection with Casablanca when we rolled the Road to Casablanca EP. So it was dope. It was dope just kind of like experience it in real time, and then we used it to do our release party. So the release party just like packed out. Like it was like, you know, like by the time it started, it was like doors open. It was like doors were closed. Like, yo, we can't let nobody else in. So it was a real cool experience. Like I haven't I think at the time when we started even using it, they were still just building out more and more features as it was like growing. But it's just cool. It's cool because for me, my whole thing, my whole brand, everything I built is always just about like, you know, pulling the curtain back and just like, you know, breaking the fourth wall, showing people like, yo, this is what's actually going on. This is like, you know, so it was dope for me.
I love that. Now, with a huge record like Billie Eilish, a record that has been so viral, how have you been able to stay grounded through it all?
Family.
Okay.
Family, yeah. You get there's like, you take little days where you just don't do nothing. Like, I mean, I might just like drink a smoothie and watch South Park and Rick and Morty, and then like, you know, I play beats and stuff like that. But like, it's, you know, it's family. But at the same time, like, I never get too hung up on one moment. I think it's like, you know, I think that was just like a gateway for all the moments that's been happening, that's about to happen, that's going to continue to happen. So, you know, it was never really about like, yo, we got Billie Eilish, we did it. It was like, yo, Billie Eilish, it happened. So like, this is giving us the floor plan to build what we want to build.
Right. Now, was picking the production, or when you first heard that sample, like, was that intentional? Like, to play off that, you know, that sound?
Yeah.
That.
Like, you talking about like the Nori sample, right?
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Like I had came up with that. I was like, yo, I like this idea. I sent it over to the producer and I just told him like,
because that's like
this.
Again, like going back to the legacies, the OGs, the legacy artists. Like when I think of like Quiet Storm, you know, by Mobb Deep and Lil Kim, I think of like Nothing in that same vague. So when I heard it, I was wondering like, you know, like, is that intentional? You know?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, that was such a record, like, you know, even like, and it's cool because we kind of, I feel like we rewrote history a little bit with the record. You know, like there's a new population of kids. Every day the internet grows and grows and grows, and there's a new age of kids that's on the internet. So like there's people who have never heard nothing in their lives, but like when they hear that beat, they attach it to Billie Eilish before they attach it to Nothing.
Yeah.
So like now we kind of rewrote history as to what that sound is and what it, you know, what memory it jogs in your head. But yeah, it's dope. It was dope for me.
Okay. I love that. No, because you just had another big performance, too, that I'm going to get into about that. But before we do, I want to remind everyone that we also have a chat where you can touch base with Armani White, the Go himself, if you have questions. And also for our friends at Puma. The first question I'm going to ask is from Tatiana Films. Now, if you could work with any artist, past or present, who would you collab with and why would you collab with them?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Freddie Mercury. Like Queen Freddie Mercury.
What you know about Freddie?
Yo, I think Freddie is like the greatest musician ever. Like,
what does he know about Freddie?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying like, yo, all pandemic, it was all I listened to was Queen. It was like from like just like all the hits, all the deep cuts. Like I'm a big, if I could collab with any artist, it'd be Freddie.
Wow.
It'd be Freddie Mercury.
I like that. All right, we got the chat is booming. I ain't gonna hold you. The chat is booming, so let's get into it. We're gonna get into some DHN wants to know. They say, yo, Armani, I really like your fit. Could you tell us about your fit and your fashion inspirations?
Come on, man.
You dripped down today. You did, okay? You got the Pumas on. You got the Puma classics, okay?
I just like went on a binge on it's a website called Essence, like SSE and like Essence, and I just went on a binge. I spent like $5,000 because I was like, I got tired of just like trying to keep matching up the same things in my closet different ways. So like I bought a whole new closet. But these like I feel like the outfit is always put together with cool pants. That's my personal thought. My outfit is always put together with cool pants. I kept it simple up top with this. It's a Carhartt top, and then this jacket. This shirt. That like it's like a short sleeve but long sleeve at the same time.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I don't know that.
Y'all see, he had to get out the car. He said, I gotta show you the details of it.
It's my little freaky fit when I go to t-shirt. The t-shirt a little freaky, but yeah.
Man, all right. Now we are again. This is HipHop50. We're celebrating HipHop50 with our friends at Puma, and we have a question. Geo Jude Harambe wants to know.
Harambe.
My bad if I messed that up, but they want to know what other artists outside of hip hop, if it's a different genre, do you vibe to or would have worked with?
I listen to a lot of Frank Ocean. Frank Ocean, yeah.
Frank Ocean be on all your playlists.
Yeah. Frank Ocean, boy, I'm a big Frank Ocean fan. Frank Ocean, Janelle Monáe. I listen to a lot of Janelle Monáe. Yeah. Frank Ocean, Janelle Monáe, like those like they are my Mount Rushmore.
When you mentioned Sister Nasty, my bad. I instantly thought of the Age of Pleasure because she's all over that, and that album is woo. Yeah, but keep going. I'm sorry.
No, you good. But yeah, like Janelle Monáe. There's like, trying to think. Like I listened to I listen to Arctic Monkeys. There's a band called Arctic Monkeys.
Okay, you just got me hip.
Yeah. Arctic Monkeys. I'm a big fan of Arctic Monkeys too. Like I like I don't know. Yeah, honestly, I get like really like, as much as I love hip hop, I came up with hip hop and I'm inspired by hip hop. Like I feel like I've been attached to it for so long that sometimes I want to just like explore new things and just hear like, like I think it inspires me and helps me make better hip hop if I like draw inspiration from these other things.
It's like brain food.
Yeah.
I like that.
Because it's like I feel like hip hop is like it's been so consistent in my life. It's like I feel it's almost like a test that I've taken over and over again. I'm like, okay, I want to go and study a new language or learn a new thing, and I can incorporate that back into hip hop.
I think that's why the global appeal and the access to Afrobeat music.
Yeah.
To your point, it's like brain food. Like when I am too someone that grew up on hip hop culture and feels like it runs deep in my veins. I can remember when I seen Mary J. Blige and Method Man on my TV screen. I turned around and was like, what was that? Or seeing Free and AJ and I was like, oh, I can do that. Like, okay. So it makes me, like think about those moments where we are, if you fast forward it now and how everything has been argued to be oversaturated, I feel like. But I don't even think it's that. I just think, we got to get better at funneling and, getting the music that feels good, whether if it's hip hop, Afro beats, dance hall, to the right channels. But that was why I asked that too. Now you are signed to Def Jam, and I wanted to know, how does that partnership feel, especially having King Tunji over there and really shifting the culture and the narrative. What does it mean to be signed to Def Jam, like one of the staples in like the hip hop industry and like labels and things like that?
I think it feels good because, again, like I said before,
we're rewriting history. You know what I mean? Like, and we definitely, like, especially with Def Jam, like Tunji being the new head of Def Jam, like we are the face of the new regime of Def Jam, like the face of like what Def Jam is going to be.
That just gave me chills. The new regime.
Right. Well, what Def Jam is going to be remembered as from 2022 onward, like this is us. So it feels good to be like a part of that, be one of the flagship artists for that, and just be able to put stats on the board like we did. Like I think it's dope, and I have like a powerful team over at Def Jam. Like I got like a real powerful team that just like they move mountains. You know?
No, they love you.
Yeah,
I was gonna say we love you. But I ain't trying to plug him as a team again. But
Nah, they move mountains. Like y'all move mountains for me. So like it's a blessing. It's definitely a blessing. And I think like I was independent for so long, but like I held out. I feel like for the right for the right partnership. I held out for the right timing, and I held out for the right moment when it really made sense, and it really like we had everything we needed to really kind of blow things out the water. So.
And I think that's free game for any, like hip hop artists or hip hop fans, listeners, anyone paying attention now. It's like sometimes like divine timing really is key. When it aligns, that means it's time. And it's definitely your time, and I no pun intended. But we also, on our show Behind the Business, we had a conversation with Amber Grimes, who's
I love Amber.
Love Amber. Had an amazing conversation with Amber Grimes during Black History Month about, how LVRN, another flagship hip hop R&B label, has taken mental health services extremely serious. That's and have fire. These resources for their labels, for their artists, which leads me to a question that we have in the chat. I want to shout out Bicky Rhonda, who wants to know, how do you practice self-care in this era? And is self-care, a priority for you as an artist?
Like this. I go to sleep, because I used to like, because that's the thing, like when you racing towards something, like when you running at this goal, at this mission, at this dream, like you really like you eat yourself alive, and like you literally like you almost gotta go through hell. You gotta meet the devil before you get to where you at, so it's like for me, it's like now that we're at a point where like we're starting to see some headroom. It's like I've realized how much sleep is important. I realized like my schedule now is unlike I could have ever imagined. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you see these artists go from like one side of the country, like, like when you're watching TV, you're like, oh yeah, they was just performing at this festival, and now they're in Europe, and now they're back in Atlanta for BT, and now that's and your head, you're like, oh, this must all be pre-recorded. Nah, it's in real time. Like I had to go do this, and I flew to Europe, and then when I flew right back from Europe, I went to Atlanta, and I went to Canada, and like, it's like all this happened in the span of 6 days, and so it's like, I think for me, I take those moments where I'm like, all right, nobody talk to me. Like, and I find the things that just really made me like fall in love with. Like I'm very, very, I guess like sure of myself. Like I'm very like I love myself a lot. So like I find the things that just like it just allows me to be naturally me and be like one with me. Like I just talk on the phone, like and I talk, when I say talk on the phone, I mean like meaningless conversations. Like
I'm the same way.
We like I just float like on the phone.
I'm the same way. No, the homies will tell you. Texting, my brain shuts down. Like I'm a phone girl. I'm still gonna pick up the phone. I still call my grandmother's landline number that she's had since I ain't gonna tell my age, but it is what it is. But no, I think it's important because speaking of the runaround, you just had a BET hip hop performance moment, where things came full circle with Nori. Then you're on Jimmy Fallon, like
we was on tour. We was on tour right after that, and then we were on Jimmy. We did Jimmy Kimmel during the tour, and like also during the tour we was doing college shows, and we were doing we was bouncing around a lot during that one moment, but like we had to be present. I had to show up to every single one of those things. I also like I go to the gym a lot.
Okay, so that's self-care.
That's super self-care. I go to the gym, I go on walks, and then like I got a niece that's like I've raised her like my daughter really.
I love that.
So I take her, I just go pick her up and just take her to things. Like I do a lot of
oh my God.
I do a lot of retail therapy. I like to shop.
So the gym, retail therapy. Okay, first record on your gym playlist. What we listening to in the gym?
Goated. No, it's a Young Thug playlist. I listen to a lot of Young Thug when I'm in the gym. It's this one song called Millions. Millions.
Yeah.
Put it in the casket and bury it. I put Millions on anytime I'm in the gym. Like that's the first song that come on here.
Okay, and when you're shopping with your niece, what's the first thing you buying her if she says like, I want that? Or I want that.
I never understand little girl clothes. Like it just doesn't make sense to me. So I just buy her shoes. Like I buy her like she got a lot of Timbs. She got Uggs. She got we just did some stuff with I can't even say what we just did stuff with, but but I just get her shoes. I get her shoes anywhere we go.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah.
I recently was just at my god sister's baby shower and I did some shopping for her and they had these mini hip hop tees. So I got her the Wu-Tang tee. Yeah. I got her Bob Marley tee. Yeah. And I was just like, oh my God, I love shopping for people kid. That ain't mine. I got a nephew, so I feel you in that vein. But
I just got an iPad too. She ain't get it yet, but
they love the iPad.
Yeah, but that's why I ain't give it to her. Like little kids being they be just like this with the phone and all and the tablets and all that. Like,
they do, but what I have found exciting is that they sometimes the iPads are helping them retain information, which leads me to my next question. I got my nephew hip to Missy Elliott, right? Yeah. And he was like, TT, like, yeah. I just want to watch this. Some stuff we couldn't watch. But Missy Elliott was also someone, when I first got hip to you, I was like, damn, like, he reminds me of Missy. He reminds me of Busta in terms of making your videos. Even Maya to a certain extent. Yeah. Maya used to incorporate.
I had the biggest crush on Maya. What? Like, I seen her in the Viacom building one day. I froze up. I was like,
you do that, yeah.
Like, she just walked right by. I was like,
3.5. We also had a Maya interview where we were able to kind of go into some of these nostalgic points because the Rugrats, when I think of Rugrats, you think of Maya, just like you mentioned Space Jam.
Oh, what?
Of course,
Yeah, Rugrats movie was crazy. That was, Rugrats movie was. I still got Reptar toys in my mom's garage.
Oh, you go for real.
I'm a kid. I'm a big kid. That's my whole joint. I'm in the all the orange cassette tape, not cassette, all the orange VHS tapes. Like that was my whole joint with the Rugrats and all that. I grew up just Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon. Like I still just watch cartoons when I'm on my self-care. Like I just watch cartoons. I don't talk to nobody. It's just like when I'm in the studio, cartoons is on TV.
He watches cartoons. Self-care. Add that to the note. Self-care. Cartoons, shopping, fitness.
When I go to sleep, I sleep with the TV on. You sleep with the TV on, or you sleep with the TV on?
Oh no, it has to be off.
Yes,
I can't do all that.
I sleep with the TV on, but I sleep with cartoons playing in the background. It helps animate my dreams.
So what's the first cartoon you ever watched or got hip to? Can you remember that?
Not the first one. Like it was, it's probably Rugrats. But I know a lot of times when I was growing up, my alarm clock when I was in elementary school, my alarm clock would always wake me up around like 6:37, and Pokemon was always on. That was like, Pokemon was on when I got home from school. Dragon Ball Z was on. Like I was like locked in Dragon Ball Z. Like I had all the toys. I had all the ones they got from McDonald's, the ones they got from Barnes and Nobles, the one you get from the actual GameStop, the one you get from I had all the toys. Like Toys R Us, all the toys.
Oh my God. Yeah. All right. So you just mentioned Raptar, and that made me think of the episode when Sister, where they all came. I don't know if you remember that, but they all came to the festival. It was like a teen night or something, and they all performed. And, we got another question from Bicky that wants to know, Bicky _Rhonda. I don't want to mess it up. Don't kill me. But what's your favorite song to perform?
That's a good question. I want to say Goated, maybe. Yeah, I want to say Goated probably is my favorite song. Like, Goated is between Goated and, Goated is, for the hype. Like, we do the trust fall thing and all that. It's just fun, especially when we got a crowd. Like, we make the whole crowd say Goated and all that. So it's fun. And then, they all the people that be trying to do the dance that don't know how to do it. But, on a sentimental side,
do the dance? Can you do the dance?
On the sentimental side, it's a record called Thanksgiving. That's my favorite record to perform. Thanksgiving is it's just a little more emotional. It's like an overcoming song. Like, oh, you finally did this, and there's the trophy moment. So yeah.
Going back to that championship music, I love that. on the spirit of goated, you know, you also have Denzel Curry. How did you guys connect? How did you guys connect? Was that the first record y'all ever did together?
I gotta let him know I'm out here too. Yeah. That was the first one we did together, but we working on other stuff. Denzel just like me and Denzel are like the same person, just from different places. Like Denzel's from Florida, but like even when we got together on set, we was just like all the things that I grew up on YouTube, like Tube Steak. We're just bonding, like laughing about these things. Like we call each other. We'll call each other randomly. Like he'll want something, but before we get to whatever it is we want, we'll just be like, we'll spend like 10 minutes doing Boondocks references. Like just like going back and forth about like, you know, just making like yelling little random quotes from the Boondocks and shit like that. Like,
oh my God.
Like it's that's my dog. That's like a real, like really a friend.
I love it. And it's good to have friends in this, you know, space. Because sometimes, you know, it's like, okay, are we cool? Or you just, you know, like social climbing, like, what is it?
Right. Nah. He got this game called Super Fight. It's like Friends, like Cards Against Humanity. It's made by the same people, but it's like, but it's like, it's literally like, you pick a card, like I pick a card, I'm like a dragon with stiletto heels on that like anytime I breathe is icicles, and you're like a pirate with rocket propelled grenades, and I don't know, whatever it is, but we have to like, and there's like a mediator in the middle, and we have to argue our case as to why I would beat you in a fight, and you have to argue your case back as to why you would beat me in a fight, and then like somebody has to say who won the fight. But it's like, but me and him was playing one time, and it's just funny playing with him because like, he just over talks, and it don't matter what you say. Like he just overpowers. Like okay, well. Like Denzel's my guy. That's my dog.
I love that. No, Denzel is like, you guys are like, when I think of like lyricists and MCs, because I feel like we're getting like these subgenres of hip hop now, which I don't see anything wrong with when I think about the evolution of hip hop. You know, like we gonna have some pop rap, we gonna have some alternative rap. You know what I'm saying?
Subgenres might be bigger than the actual genre.
Hey, you know what I'm saying?
Hear it from me,
but someone else that I feel like, you know, taps into these subgenres sometimes is A$AP Ferg, you know, and I know you guys got the Silver Tooth joint. That's fire. Yeah. Was that you guys' first time collaborating? What was it like meeting Ferg for the first time? And, you know, how did this Silver Tooth moment come about?
Me and Ferg, we both got the same manager.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know that. Okay.
But it was there. So at that point we had already met, like known each other. We already knew each other. We already talked and all that. And then I had made Silvertooth just like on a whim. I was at the studio, and I was like, yo, Ferg might sound dope on this, like, you know. And I had I think later that week we had to go to L.A. anyway, so we flew out there. He was already out there. I was like, yo, come meet me at the studio. He came in, he just like dropped the verse, and we was just in there like just vibing.
Wow. So like, you guys recorded it in L.A.
Yeah.
Now, did you already have like a video concept or video treatment for it? Because the video is fire, I want to know like, are you like hands on with your video treatments?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah. Like I kind of the only thing I don't do as a director is like like stand behind the camera and watch it. But like everything everything is mainly like, yo, this is the idea, this is the concept. I'll even draw before we even get a treatment. I'll draw out like scene by scene by scene. Like this is what I want it to look like, kind of thing. And so like I've been working with the same team since Billie Eilish. My guys Mikey and Davey, and we kind of like we've gotten to a point of just like synergy, like where they know what it's like, they know what like they know what I want, and it's just easy. But yeah.
Wow. Okay, so I'm curious to know, when you are on the set of music videos, and you're working with another artist, rather if it's like a Ferg or a Denzel Curry, like, is there any type of, like, are you guys like working together on set, or do you guys spaced out in other rooms? Like, you know how sometimes you may have an artist that's like, I'm not doing that, do you prefer to like, nah, like this is very collaborative, it's not, performative? Like,
I don't work with people who I'm not like cool with. Like,
I agree, I'm the same way.
I don't really care to be everybody's friend and think friends with them. Like, I ain't trying to be, like it's not a thing like that for me. Like I can finish my own song. so I ain't like everybody when we get into that, especially if we get to the point of we all shooting a music video, like they my homies. We the only time if we're not on set together, then it's because we're not on set together. Like, it's like, yo, it's your scene or this my scene or whatever it is. But like, like even when we had a bunch of fake money when Denzel was performing, I was like throwing a fake money at him, like why, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just, but it's like, yeah, if these ain't my homies, if we can't, like, you know, like joke around, fuck around, like, you know, whatever, then
period.
Yeah, I ain't trying to do no songs with you.
He's like, I don't want to do no songs.
Yeah, it wouldn't even make it to the video. Man, but yeah, no, everybody who we work with, like, they all my dogs. Denzel, my dog. First, my dog. Friday, my dog. Like, yeah, these all.
What about
like,
Fabio? I was about to say, I know you got
Fabio. Yeah, Fabio. Fabio's my guy. Yeah, now Fabio. We met in the studio. Like, we met in the studio.
Nice, okay.
Yeah. We met in the studio. Or actually, we met at the HipHop Awards. But then we linked back up at the studio. I forgot what they was working on. They was working on a soundtrack. But then we just came in and we made a couple records together. But it was just like, you know, he got, like, his world is his world. Like it's like straight, you know, like the I think it's drill. Yeah, like just that drill sound like that. And like he carry it. Like, he really, you know, he really is like one of those like flagship artists. So like, we was in the studio, he's playing me back-to-back records. I'm like, oh, these joints go. Like,
I like that you said flagship. No, seriously, for real. And you know, if you don't know, or if you didn't know, or if you don't, I'm going to remind you again, we're going to be stepping into Armani's world a little later with a very special live performance. So do not miss that. Stay tuned. Which also leads me to my next question. When I think of, you know, the BET Awards, right? Whether if it's the BET Awards or the BET Hip Hop Awards, you know, those were some of the performances and or live moments that I remember the most. You know, I remember seeing the first BET Awards, you know, when it first popped up. I remember seeing, you know, Monique dance to Crazy in Love. And, you know, I remember when Jadakiss, Fab, Ace Hood, Joel Santana were all in my favorite hip hop cipher today. I feel like no one has touched that cipher. What's a live performance from any award show that's like hip hop focused that you remember? It can be pop too, because you know I'm a Michael Jackson.
It's not gonna be a good one.
Why not? Okay, tell us anyway.
I just remember funny stuff. Like, I remember when Waka Flocka came out and performed. I think it was Hard to Paint. And he didn't perform it at all. He just like walked through the audience and tried to get everybody on stage. Like, it was like, but yeah, I remember watching that. Like, yo, this is great, because it's like, I don't know, like it was so like, you watch stuff like that, you like, yo, he's just happy to be here.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? He just enjoying himself, and he like trying to get everybody else to enjoy. You could tell BET is like furious with him, but yeah, that was one of my favorite performances, because he didn't even actually perform. He just running around the crowd like, yo, like, hey, let's turn up, bro, let's turn up. Like, but that when Slim Thug performed Still Tipping, and like he didn't realize that it was live, he had to censor himself, so he was just like like he was just saying every word.
I remember that. You just unlocked a memory in my brain.
And then BET was trying to correct this, so then they just muted the whole rest of this whole verse of me. Yeah, like I remember I don't know, I remember that. I remember when Eminem came out, I forgot what song it was, but I think it was Touch It. It was Touch It. And when Touch It was like the big record, and then Eminem came out from under the ground.
Oh yeah, when he came up. That one was sick. That was sick. No, that was freaking sick.
Yeah.
Who also had a coming up from the ground moment, because again, we're talking about hip hop, and you can't talk about hip hop without women being at the forefront right now. Little Kim. Do you remember when Little Kim popped up during, I think it was All About the Benjamins that they did? It was like a Bad Boys reunion. We can go into that for days. But I have a question, because we are on the subject of performances. You have a very special performance coming up with Billboard celebrating HipHop50. And I am curious to know, how does it feel to also have publications like a Billboard, you know, support you? Because when I do think about our era, hip hop, millennials, Gen Z, and how we came up, you know, I think of Word Up magazine. Word Up, that was the first like hip hop like poster I had on my wall. I had J Boog, I had, you know, 50 Cent, you know. So when I think about Billboard as well, I remember, you know, like running home after getting off MySpace, checking, you know, who's on the charts, who can I debate with my friends? You know, how does it feel to have Billboard championing you, and what are you looking forward to from this performance coming up in August?
I mean, when I see stuff like that, I just mean it's working. Like it mean like everything's vindication. Like, it's like, you know, everything we put out into the world, we getting it back, and that's always a good feeling. So I mean, like Billboard has been Billboard has been in my corner for a long time. I got a lot of good friends over there, like that, like some that I've known beforehand. That just been kind of watching me grow up into this, and now like I'm actually a charting artist now. Like there's songs that make it on the Hot 100, like. It's so it's a real cool experience. I forgot the second half of your question. I'm not gonna lie.
No, you're good. You answered it.
I know you said something about Billboard and you said something else. I was like, I do not remember where the other one went, but yeah.
You're good. You got it. It was in the spirit of just Billboard, publications, like, and just, being championed by the culture. I feel like people sometimes underappreciate publications because, and I feel like maybe that's because things have gone super digital, but when I think about, when people would even talk about their top fives, they would look at, Source Magazine, which leads me to our next segment. If you guys did not know, this is a very special episode of Heard It First, where we are celebrating 50 years of hip hop with our friends over at Puma. And right now we are going to get into a very special game called 5 on 5. And in the spirit of celebration, I'm going to ask a question and you're going to spit it back out. It's going to be really easy. So I'm going to ask, what's your top 5? I'm going to encourage people in the chat to also say theirs as well. And don't forget to, are you enjoying this right now?
Did you tell them that the sneaker was floating? Did y'all talk about that?
I mean, they see it. I mean, y'all know now.
No, because it looked like it's on a string, but it's actually floating, like nothing's touching it.
All right.
It's fire. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah,
you good. I'm about to hit you with the 5 questions. Yeah. All right, boom. So first one, top 5 hip hop songs.
All time? Like ever?
Yeah. It's on you now. Go. It's 5 on 5.
Top 5 hip hop songs. Let's go. It's a Kanye song. Let's go. Let's say. Damn, that's not it. I say All Falls Down. All Falls Down.
All right.
Song Cry. That's up there.
So those are 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
Murder Was the Case.
Ooh, Snoop that's 3. Dogg, yeah. Snoop Dogg.
What Eminem song I want to go with?
Superman.
I love Superman. Oh my God. I go with Superman. We go with Superman. Oh, I love Superman.
That's 4. One more.
Who am I missing? No, I got Song Cry.
Oh, you did say Song Cry.
Miss Jackson.
Okay, Outcast. I like that. Okay, all right, boom. Top 5 albums.
Top 5.
Go.
I can give you all Kanye albums. Late Registration is definitely on. Late Registration. Dark Fantasy. Late Registration, Dark Fantasy is on there. Marshall Mathers LP is on there. Love Below is on there.
Love Below.
Yeah, Love Below is on there, and then
hip hop album that won Grammy of the Year. If you don't remember that, or no?
Yeah. No, I remember. Yo, that was a moment. That was a moment in hip hop. And then what's the 5th one? I don't know. Give me like a
They saying some Biggie. Somebody, and I'm gonna go off on the chat. They saying Biggie need to be there. They saying
they said Paper Trail. Paper Trail was Paper Trail got I'm Illy enough. T.I. makes really good albums.
Hey, King.
T.I. makes really good albums. Even when like he doesn't have a big song, T.I. makes really good albums.
I agree.
T.I. makes really good albums.
I gotta shout out my mom on that one because my mom got me hooked to the King album, the all black with that cover. It's some bangers on there.
Live in the Sky on King, I think, right?
And that Good Life.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Don't wanna die, I wanna live in the sky. Oh, yeah. And then yeah. Shout out to you, Paper Trail, Bradley Pockets. All right, let's go. Top 5 producers, go. Pharrell, Timberland. That's 2. We need more.
We need 5. It's 5 on 5.
We need more than that.
Let's go.
Dre, Pharrell, Timberland, Dre.
Pharrell, Timberland.
Dre, Dr. Dre.
Dr.
Dre. Come on, help me out.
Metro.
Yeah. We go Metro. And then I need one that's like a little. I say Kanye.
Okay, I was waiting for you to say that. I'm like, he seemed to be the one.
Yeah.
Okay, now we are going to go to top 5 rappers of all time. Ooh, somebody said Scott Storch. No ID.
Nah, I was going to say Scott Stewart, but I had a top 5 rappers.
I was gonna throw out Missy and Wonder Girl too.
Wonder Girl's so
Wonder Girl is fire.
Wonder Girl's so fire. What? Wonder Girl might have to take. Nah, Wonder Girl fire though. Wonder Girl fire.
Okay.
Top 5 rappers. Me. Can I put me in there?
Armani, yeah, you got it. Armani White, one.
Black Thought is in there. Eminem is in there. Kanye's in there, and what's another person on my top 5? Somebody
say you got Kendrick or MF Doom.
Kendrick is in there.
They want you to say Kendrick so great. Oh, the most glorious and notorious. Okay. Yo, big up to Kingston, okay?
Nah.
And see, Brooklyn.
I like Biggie.
Ooh, Rakim.
I didn't. Are we talking about lyrically? That was my whole joint lyrically. My whole joint was just lyrically. So like lyrically, I'm gonna put Kendrick in. I put Kendrick in.
Okay. Who said Saha the Prince? They know they stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
They know they stuff. And don't forget the woman either. The woman killing. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Foxy. Eve. Queen Latifah, Missy. Salt and Pepper. Sorry, my bad. I had to
Take your time.
But all right, and then my last one for the 5-on-5 segment.
Spinning shoe. They see the spinning shoe.
Cole, woo, Nikki. Okay, let's go.
Shout out to Cole.
All right, they want you to spin the shoe. Okay, but while we spinning the shoe, I want us to give our top 5 current rappers.
Huh?
Top 5 current rappers.
Wait,
5-on-5.
I'm gonna make it float right now. Top 5 current rappers.
Yes.
Right now.
After we fix the shoe.
Go!
I know magic. Go!
I know magic.
Go! Oh my God!
Magic. Yeah.
Shout out to Possum who said Lady of Rage for sure. Lady of Rage is also an icon. Top 5 current. 5-on-5. This last one.
Armani White.
Armani.
Top 5 current rappers. Drake, Travis, Cole.
Drake,
Travis, Cole. Kendrick, I say, and Tyler.
Oh, I'm so happy you said Tyler, the Creator, because I was also going to say, too, in terms of evolution and someone who has defined their sound, never conformed, you remind me of that vein. You remind me of that, crop of artists that are literally, defining who they are without trying to conform to any mainstream corporate and or social media, pressures either. Yeah. So I just want to shout you out. That was 5-on-5 presented by our friends over at Puma. Thank you guys so much for staying active with that. And if you did not know, we have a very special performance coming up from the GOAT himself, Armani White. So stay tuned. Thank you guys.